Hey, good morning, good afternoon, and good evening to everybody. Sorry, we're a few minutes late. We had a technical glitch on this side. But as always, hello to my friends and Pega partners from all over the world. Welcome to the Enablement and One Big Winner edition of the Pega Partner Hour, a monthly webinar that provides Pega partners with support in sales, technical, and industry domains. As a reminder, and as always, we're recording this session. If you prefer not to be recorded, please feel free to drop from the call. And you're welcome to watch the call by a recording at the later time. Speaking of watching recordings, the Pega Partner Hour Historical Archives has a new home. You can now find the backload of episodes at the event page on the partner portal at partners.pega.com. How you find that? If you go to the partner portal and you click on resources and support, you're going to get a drop down. In that drop down, you're going to find events and webinars. Click on that. The next page that comes up is going to be a search bar. We have our own topic line, the Pega Partner Hour. And when you click on it, it will bring up all of them. They are still in process of uploading them. So I think we have 2 of them up there today, but they're going to be there for you. And that's actually going to be really important for a couple things that we're going to talk about later when we get into today's topic. All right. Before we get going into today's topic, a reminder that the Pega World is coming. Registration is open. As always, the place is Las Vegas. And the dates are June 1st to June 3rd. You can get all the information at pegaworld.com. And when you're on that site, you will see at the top, as you see here, there is a limited time sale. Individual passes are on sale for $200 off until May 16th. So if you win the free pass that we're going to be giving away later today, that's going to be your next best action, to steal a phrase. All right, on to today's edition. I've asked Brooke Halloran, our enablement offering specialist, and Jason Wilhelm, our resident senior solutions consultant for enablement, and Pega's enablement and effectiveness leader, which, by the way, is a fantastic title. I don't know how you got that, Jason, but I want to be a leader of any type. So they're joining us today for probably one of the most important hours we've ever done. Here's why. 2 of the biggest questions I always get from partners are, how do we get, how do we improve, and most importantly, how do we keep distinctions for our company at Pega? And then the answer comes from the next question is, how do we get individual enablement to improve and keep individual currency with Pega? So let's just dive right in. Let's go right to Jason Wilhelm. Jason, in my background on you, Jason, I found out that you are a goalie. And that unfortunately leaves us nothing to talk about because that means you're a little bit crazy like drummers.
Yes.
But we'll jump right in and let you go. Good luck with that introduction.
I mean, if we're gonna go that deep, you should probably know that I was the vice president of my marching band in high school, and guess what instrument I played? I was a drummer. Absolutely. We're just linking these together. No, Randy, thank you so much for giving us the time today and the platform today. And yeah, you couldn't have said it any better. This is a topic that just comes up over and over again because enablement is not something that is ever just a one and done thing. It is something that is ongoing and current, and we want to make sure that it is, purposeful and practical in the way that you get the skills you need. And I'm obviously talking to all you guys out there today. We want you to know what it is that Pega does and know the latest and greatest so that when you're using it for implementations, when you're out there selling it, you have all the tools in your utility belt that are going to go out there and just help you be as successful as possible. So you brought up the partner portal, and I absolutely love that you did that. If any of you are out there or have seen, there was actually a blog post that I authored and put out there that's called Understanding Skills Currency Requirements in the Pega Partners Program. That's a lot about what we're talking about today and what we're going to kind of break down and take any of the questions that you have. But this is going to be a great place to go to, and you can, it's under the resources and support under news and updates. It's one of the first articles in there. This is going to give you that quick synopsis and breakdown of what it is, but understand that there's deadlines that are coming up that we want to make sure that you all stay current and you all stay up to date, to not only have the most knowledge of Pega, but also for qualifying program distinctions within the Pega Partners program. So the big one right now that I want everyone to know that it's the one that's coming up is June 30th. We got to make sure that we have our certifications up to 24.1. You'll probably hear some announcements at Pega World about the latest and greatest of Pega that's coming out, but we're always trying to stay as relatively current as possible. And so the next deadline, June 30th, getting your upgrade certifications to 24.1. So we all know where the bench line is. We all know what we're trying to hit for a checkbox. But now you're going to probably say, well, how do I get there? And maybe what are some of the other paths, or what are some of the other distinctions and programs you can have? That is where I'm incredibly lucky to work with such an amazing colleague like Brooke Halloran. Brooke and I have been working together for about 4.5 years. Brooke has been, are we at 4.5? We at 5.5? What are we at?
4.5. Glorious
4.5.
years.
Good. I got that right. I appreciate that. And Brooke, I'm not going to try to steal any of your thunder and take away from what you do. But Brooke has been instrumental in helping our partners, and then assisting me and assisting our partner managers with getting all of you guys the education and just kind of the pathways of what it is that you can be doing to get there. So, Brooke, let me hand it over to you and give you the opportunity to kind of set the floor here.
Awesome. Thanks, Jason. So pardon me, I have a little laryngitis, but I'm going to just start off. I have some slides we're going to share. We'll share them after the presentation. And we'll also share with you a couple of links that I think will be really helpful. But I just want to start out by making sure everyone's aware of how to talk about enablement with partners, how to kind of move enablement forward if it's an instructor-led piece. Obviously, we all know about Pega Academy. Pega Academy is available 24/7 to everyone, and it is available at no cost. Once I get into some of the Delta courses that we have available, I'll talk about how that works with Pega Academy as well. But as of January 1st, and really kind of over the past quarter or so, a lot has changed within technical enablement or technical training. Prior to that, many of you have worked either with me or a counterpart on the technical training enablement team when you've been talking to a client or a partner about enablement or about technical training or keeping current. And in that case, we kind of were enablement experts that could hop on a call with folks. And what has changed is our entire team has actually gone into different roles. My new role is really continuing with enablement. It's just really offer management. So instead of being someone that can join you on calls to talk about enablement, I'm doing a lot of the behind the scenes work to make sure that you all have what you need to talk to partners about enablement, to support their enablement.
And Brooke, obviously most of the people on this call are going to be probably the people that you talk to, obviously being so many of our partners here. And so, I think there's probably a ton of people on here that have had good conversations with you and probably worked with you on this one. And not to derail this or steal it, but definitely, for you guys out there in our partner community, definitely still working through your partner manager is going to be the right way to go on this one. And don't get us wrong. We don't want you to make you think that there's any kind of support changes here. You're going to get the same swarm of support that's going to be going around it at all times. So
exactly. Thanks, Jason. That's exactly where I was going. Is have a great level of support through Jason, through your partner managers, and actually me as a third level within that. So certainly all of that should make sure that you're able to get what you need from a technical training perspective and keeping current perspective. So definitely excited to continue to support you, just kind of in a different way.
Sure.
So I'm going to go through some slides that talk about technical training and what we offer and what does it look like. And then we're going to drill down a little bit more into some of the training that's really specifically going to be able to keep you current, which I think is a key piece of what we're all trying to accomplish here. So here we are. We're going to talk about enablement just give you a really good overview as to what enablement looks like at Pega, and then the Delta courses. And we'll talk to you about, we'll provide you with pricing and timing and all of those sorts of things. So one great thing about getting enabled at Pega is you can really learn the way you want. Obviously, I mentioned Pega Academy is available 24/7. It is available at no cost. On the extreme opposite end of that, there is instructor-led training, really hand-holding. We have both public and private classes that are taught by certified Pega trainers. Obviously, with Pega Academy being free, instructor-led training being a paid engagement, and then in the middle we have some hybrid options. Many of you, because I know our partners are kind of the frequent buyer of mentored training, so you're all probably familiar with our mentored training that we offer for senior system architects and lead system architects, because we do understand and have heard feedback from many partners that the mentored training is something that's really needed. We need to stretch training out for a longer period of time for those folks that are already doing developing, so that they actually are not being taken off for 5 straight days, 8 straight days, 10 straight days to go through instructor-led training. And it's tough for folks to actually have those developers developing and then also, spending their time on self-study. It's tough to get through that in a reasonable period of time. So the mentor training is definitely one of our biggest values. One thing that you want to know about that as well is it's offered twice a year. It's offered twice a year per region. So in the third quarter, we offer that in time zones that make sense for North America and EMEA. And in the second and fourth quarter, we offer that in a time that would work well for India and APAC. So definitely that's something we constantly have new decks about. Please ask your partner manager for an updated deck on that. Ask Jason. That's exactly one of the things I think that will be most valuable.
And Brooke, all this information can be found on Pega Academy as well, correct? As far as
Absolutely.
like the training and some of that? Awesome. Yep. Cool.
Yep. Absolutely. Okay, great. And this is really kind of where we're trying to show you the level of support that we can provide you when it comes to enablement. So the what, the how, the why. So the what is the instructor-led training that we've just been talking about. One thing that's neat is, we do offer it public, we offer it private, we offer mentored, but we also really offer customizable options. So there's customizable and kind of tailored enablement journeys, but we also can customize the courses themselves. So if you feel that you have some folks that you want to put in a course and they really only need certain segments of that course, we can customize it for you. Or you want use cases that are very specific to your organization, we can make sure that that happens as well. So really, we're all about customization, making sure that's tailored. I'm hoping that you're all familiar with my Pega and have had a chance to look at your organization within my Pega to understand, where you're at as an org. And Jason, I don't know if that's something you could speak to a little bit about that.
100%. Yeah. So again, yeah, I think you're spot on there, Brooke. I mean, everyone wants to know, where do you currently stand? Where do you currently sit? For those of you that want to go in and find where you are in your enablement journey or what courses you've taken, there's actually a ton of great information in my Pega. But you're going to want to jump in there. If you're the leader of your organization, you can kind of get a breakdown of how everyone else in your organization is sitting as well. So a ton of great information. Brooke, I do want to talk about something though that you just did, because I have seen over the years some of these custom enablement packages that we've kind of put together. And I'll say, I mean, it's awesome to see. And I think a lot of partners have looked at our training options before and maybe just felt like there wasn't an exact fit for what they were looking for. And it frustrates me to think that maybe a lot of them just stopped at that moment and said, oh, I'm not getting exactly what I need. It's kind of like going into a restaurant and looking at the menu and seeing that everything is pretty good, but it's not exactly what you want. And you don't realize that you can ask for some customizations, you can ask for some substitutions, and we're flexible with this. And the courses that I've seen created, it was great to see the partnership between the partner, our enablement teams, and trying to just make sure, hey, are we hitting the right metrics? Are we hitting the right information? The case studies that we pulled in there. It's that healthy balance between giving the people what they need and what we, obviously can put out there. So for those of you that are considering some potential training options here, yeah, the mentored flex one has been a wild success just because it gives partners specifically that ability to stay in the job and not have to step away for 3, 5, or 8 days and just hone in on training. You can kind of work as you learn as you work kind of situations there. And I mean, I've been into enough partner organizations and seen all of them in Pega Academy helping each other out and just kind of, doing kind of their own self-mentored program that, listen, at the end of the day, we are more excited and wanting people to learn. It's not necessarily about what is the best way for you. That's what's going to be the best way for you on that side. The instructor-led training, we just find that a lot of people have a great, experience with it, and that's just a great way for people to learn. But understand that our goals at the end of the day are about giving the knowledge and getting it over the fence so that it can be used successfully to help our joint clients achieve the solutions and the success that they want to achieve. We're not a training selling organization. When training is sold, it's covering costs and making sure that we can stay, keep those organizations afloat. It's about getting the knowledge out there. So,
Hey, Jason, to that end,
Randy.
when people are using instructor-led courses, I know it might be a little bit different, but can we give them a ballpark idea? Is that typically per person, or is the partner paying for the instructor and they can put as many people into that class? Is it typically online? Is it typically in person? Will we get to that, or can we break that down a little for them?
Actually, Randy, that's an awesome question, and I am happy to cover all of that. So that is actually the differences between this public and the private sessions. So public sessions are something that we put up within, we put that as an option within Pega Academy. Any client, any partner can join. If for partners, when you join a public class through Pega Academy, your partner discount should automatically be applied. And that is a per person fee. So it will automatically take your discount off of that public registration. If that doesn't happen, actually, please let me know. Like if you go to sign up and you're having trouble, and maybe you've moved from, a 35% discount to a 50% discount, and it's still leaving you at 35%, please just reach out to myself or Jason, and we will make sure that just does get corrected. The private classes are much more economical for partners that want to include 4 or more folks. I would say the max that we normally put within a private class, it would be about 15 folks. So 4 to 15 would be a private class, and that's where that would make the most sense. 0 to 3 would be public, and that public is a per person. Private is actually tiered pricing. So we have tiered pricing for a smaller class of 4 to 6, a medium-sized class for 7 to 9, a larger class from 10 to 12. And all of the pricing for the courses, it's a per day fee. So it's very easy for us to kind of provide that to you in a quick period of time if you're looking for a quote, or and making sure we apply your partner discount as well.
And are those typically the private ones? Are they virtual or are they in person? Do we do them on site for the client, or do we do them in Boston, or is that all relative to the pricing and what they need?
So actually, that's another awesome question, because one thing that I love about the private classes are that the cost is the same whether it's virtual or in person, other than the travel expenses for the instructor. So while we do have lots of folks that are still picking virtual because their teams are still kind of spread out, the cost is the same. So folks can take advantage of in-person training at the same cost as virtual. They really would just be paying a nominal fee for the instructor to come to them if they want to come, if they want the instructor to come to their location. We can host it in Waltham. We can host it in Cambridge. So there's definitely ways to host it at Pega or to host it at your location, whichever makes the most sense.
Thank you, Brooke.
Of course, absolutely. So continuing on this why section on the right-hand side, obviously there's so many benefits to being enabled, especially from a partner perspective. It's a competitive advantage. Not every partner is, current. And so certainly, being able to say I'm 24.2 current and I'm, I've gone through a Delta course and I am equivalent or current, that is a big deal. You can also use that to show clients that, you're going to be able to reduce time to implementation for them. You're really going to be able to focus on the things that are important to make sure that they understand they're in good hands. So those are all really important pieces, and why just being enabled, whether it's instructor-led or self-study, lots of folks can get themselves through self-study in a reasonable period of time. It's really just about what works best for each partner. So I'm going to pop on to this next slide, which I think will help you understand a little bit more about which makes the most sense for you. And I think obviously for each partner, it may be different at different times or in different situations, depending on if you have a project coming up, if you have things that you need to focus on where there's, shorter time frame, or if you have some folks that are really self-motivated, or if you don't have a training budget. So it really depends. These are all the things we've been talking about, all of these different options: Pega Academy, self-study, flex and mentored, instructor-led classes and different workshops, and public instructor-led training. But it really just kind of allows you to see within each bucket, where the level of support matches up. So, and where the cost is associated. So certainly that's all really important pieces, which hopefully will help you to better understand what makes sense for you. And from here, we're going to hop over to what I think will be really exciting for everyone. This is for instructor-led training for folks to be able to get themselves to 24.2. Just be aware, pardon me, be aware that all of this can be done through Pega Academy. So the great thing is about Pega Academy, and I'm going to give you a quick explanation as to how Delta training and becoming current works within Pega Academy before we get into this. But within Pega Academy, if you have gone through the content and say you've become system architect certified, and you were certified, I'm going to give you two scenarios. You were certified as a system architect on, say, 7.1. At that point, in order to, and you haven't done anything since then, at that point, in order to get to 24.2, you are actually going to have to start from scratch and just go from beginning to end on System Architect, the System Architect mission on Pega Academy. You'll get from beginning to end. You do not need to recertify. So you don't need to retake the exam. By going through the content and having the older certification, you become what's called equivalent, which I think we would all think of as current. If you say you were got your certification, I believe at 23.1, so much more recent, a much more recent certification that you've received. But you want to go from 23.1 to 24.2, and you want to do that through Pega Academy. Again, you do not need to take the exam again. But what you can do is log on to Pega Academy, onto the System Architect mission, and actually it will remember what information you have already learned, because it's keeping that information based on your login, and it will show you exactly what content you need to go through that is new to you. Once you have gone through the new to you content from 23.1 to 24.2, you are considered the same thing. You're considered what's called equivalent, which means you have your certification and technically you have gone through all of the current information to be what they call equivalent. So that's certainly an option. It is certainly easier if your certification is more recent, but just going through that content and not having to sit for the exam again is pretty great as well. So two options. Jason, sounds like you want to join in.
I did, yeah. And keep in mind, everybody. So you all see on the screen here, you see some of the costs that are associated here, and these are the costs that we post out to anyone and everyone out there that is in the ecosystems. Now, as a partner, you obviously get a pretty substantial discount depending on what tier you are at. But understand that the breakdown, you're going to be getting, hopefully this is an encouragement to want your organization to move up. The discounts are going to be anywhere between, I think it's 35% and 75%, depending on, where the it lies on that. But just understand that, to Brooke's point there too, when you're going in and you're looking for this training, if you either need a quote about training, you can reach out to your partner manager and I will help support them on that side. Brooke, if they go online and they just try to get the prices themselves, are they going to, is the discount going to automatically come over, or do they still need to work through it?
So it would only come up for a public class, and right now we probably will start to offer some of these as public classes, but right now we aren't.
Got it. Okay.
Hey, Brooke, I want to bounce back to something that you said just a minute ago. We talked about you don't have to take the test. So if you're taking that training, at the end of all the missions, there's typically a testing module. They still have to take that testing module, correct? They just don't have to go out and take a proctored exam, or do they not have to take either of those?
So that is an awesome and really important clarifying question. They do have to go from the, they have to complete the mission test. They have to complete all the mission quizzes. So they just don't have to go out and sit for that proctored certification exam again, but they do need to get through the entire mission and show that it's complete, which is what they would see. It does include all of those quizzes, mission quizzes, and the final mission test at the end.
All right, I'm 3 for 3. I should do the George Costanza and stop early. We got a couple questions that came in, and you kind of answered this, but I think Amy's looking for some clarification. Does this work for older certifications like an LSA certified on 8.7? Do they just go to the academy and retake mission and embedded tests?
Yes, exactly. It doesn't matter. All of the certifications, you do not ever have to sit currently. I mean, this may change in the future, but you do not have to sit for another proctored certification exam. You just need to take the new content to get current. And if, unfortunately, if the content is, if your certification is older, which 8.7 is around when it starts to get older, you'll just be directed to start at the beginning and complete it on the end. But they can get through that online at their leisure and get through those mission quizzes and tests, and as long as they pass them at the end, they're considered equivalent, which is really current.
Yeah, and that's awesome. And I was saying, Randy, I know there's another question in there that actually I wanted to take a stab at the answer with. So Krishna Kumar, you said, will there be any discounts on offers for clients? So getting our clients to stay current has always and will forever be a bit of a, chicken and egg kind of game there. But we have found as a company that it is always very highly successful, that when you have new opportunities that are being sold, new workflows, new cases, new decisions, moving them over to Pega as a cloud, whatever it may be, when those opportunities come up, we really want to start to look into bundling training into those opportunities from the first half, because to sell training afterwards, to sell training individually is typically a bit of a harder sell. But when it becomes a part of the total package, that is when it becomes something that, you probably have some more negotiation chips on the table that you can kind of work around with. But let's be honest here, we also want to make sure, and we recognize that when our clients are current, then they're getting the most out of the current software that they're getting, and we want them to get the most out of it too. So discounts, reduced rates, however you want to call it. Our position is always going to be to try to work into bundling this into a full package and a full service deal. But as a standalone, I would always say for the clients, reach out to the partner manager, at Pega, or if there's an account manager that you guys work with and know with, have those conversations, because looking at these prices and just saying there's no way we can afford this, again, I'm going to use some analogies here. It's kind of like going to a car dealership and looking at the sticker price and saying, I can't afford that. How do you know that, they're not having some incentives or something that can kind of help them along the way? We want to have the conversation. We want to know, where are we trying to get to and how do we want to get there? We understand that it's in our company's best interest, and it's also in your best interest as an organization from being, one of our partners, that if our clients can stay current too, they're going to get the most out of the software and absolutely fall in love with it too. So, it's a very political answer. It is a kind of, but we'll figure it out. So that was good. Yeah, and please, anybody else, if you have any other questions, please do not hesitate to throw these in there. Was there one more that came in?
Yeah, one more.
Jason, actually, before you start answering the other question, can I add a loophole on the client discount question?
Love the loophole. Let's go.
The loophole is that we do offer volume discounts for clients that are interested in purchasing training. And we also allow clients to kind of bundle training into that, either obviously into a contract, but they can pre-purchase. Say they know they want $60,000 worth of training, and they just know that they want that $1 amount, and they're going to figure out over the next year how to allocate that. The breakpoints for clients for getting discounts is 30,000. They get a 5% discount. At 60,000, they get a 10% discount. All the way up to 120,000, they get a 15 or 20% discount. Nice. So between a 5 and a 20% discount, and it starts at $30,000 worth of training. They already are eligible for a discount.
And I know oh, sorry, go ahead, Randy.
I was just going to add in there. Thanks, Jason. The other thing to consider in these numbers is, if you're not current on 24.2, there's releases within the product that you're not going to understand, and you're not going to be able to service your clients. You're not going to be able to sell it to your clients. And then 24.2 is going to give you the latest information that allows you to give your client all the optionality of the software. That's going to embed it. It's going to make it sticky. It's going to make it say you're going to make more money. So this is really an investment into the ability to make more sales and make more money. And it's going to be exponentially more than you pay here. So it's imperative that you get current for a number of different reasons that we'll touch on later. But the cost in and of itself is just a pathway to make more money.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And this is also the time of year when we know that, we're running up right at the end of Q2, we're getting into Q3. Q4 is kind of right when those budgetary meetings start getting planned out, where people start putting together and allocating the budgets. That's where we like to kind of remind people and just, encourage them, hey, set aside some budget money for training. Let's have this in there. And to Brooke's point there, when we can work with an organization and they come to us and say, we have allocated X amount of dollars for training, how do we get the absolute most out of this? We want to get the most out of this. We want to get the most people certified, the most people advanced. We want to, spread the knowledge far and wide. And so just making sure that these are not last minute discussions that are happening, and we're not trying to have people scrap up and find money. It's something that, planning provides good outcomes. So.
Awesome. Jason, you want to hit that one last question that's in there?
Oh yeah, exactly. So where do we need to attend for in-person classes? Brooke, I know you mentioned this a little bit, that at times we will do trainings out of Waltham. Do we do trainings, in other places as well?
99% of the time when we are doing in-person training, it is at a client or partner's location.
Sure.
And that's globally, right?
Yep, absolutely. We have trainers in every region of the globe. And actually, we also have trainers that typically can cover almost all languages. And if we don't have a trainer that can cover it, where I'm actually helping organize a training in an area that we don't cover that language, and there's an English speaking instructor, and we've paid for an instant interpreter that is going to be doing closed captioning as we speak. So there's all sorts of ways to make everything work.
Awesome.
Great. So obviously the pricing here is showing, but this is what we wanted to kind of go through with you. In the next couple slides gets into what's different within each of these courses. One thing that is different with this Delta training, we did Delta training last year for a lot of folks that were interested in getting to 24.1. The difference here is we're actually suggesting role-based training, and you'll see on the next couple slides why that is, because the training that is the Delta training is very role specific. The business architect, obviously it's the shortest course. It is the least changed. The SA and SA course, one thing that's actually awesome about this is it's the same course. The differences between that content, if you're already certified, is very minimal. It's the same. We are teaching the same content to SAs and SSAs from a Delta perspective. So just for getting folks from 23.1 up to, if you look at here on the right hand side, the 24.1 including constellation adoption and 24.2, if we're doing that all together, then that's a 3.5-day course. And for this SA and SSA, that's a 4-day course. The great thing is that if you're putting in groups of people into training, you can lump your SAs and SSAs into one course. And that might also help with cost savings. And then the LSA Delta course, if we're including 24.1, is a 6-day course. Now, for anyone who has already done and is equivalent on 24.1 training, these are much shorter courses with obviously a lower price point. So the BA is a half-day course with a low price point. We don't train for less than half a day. So all three of these are $3,000. And SA and SSA are the same 1-day course. So you can lump those folks together again. And then the LSA course is a 3-day course. So I'm gonna, if there are questions on this, I'll pause here for a second, but otherwise I can go into and show you the content that has changed and has been added.
I will say the one thing that I want to call out here that I really love is that, you know, you see in here that you must have already attended the 24.1 training for that 24.2 role-based training. But if you do look into 24.1, you'll have seen that we came out very strong with our positioning about constellation and constellation adoption. Strongly encourage everybody, if you either jumping on Pega Academy or to look at some instructor-led training courses. If constellation is not something that you feel confident or comfortable about, or you want to know more about, please reach out to your partner manager. Let us know so that we can start to make sure that we either direct you to the right trainings that you want to get, or whether it's building out workshops for whatever it may be for either your delivery team or your sales teams. But just want to make sure that I call out there that the constellation aspect of these courses it's a big component, and it's something that we need to make sure that we at Pega and you at the respective partner organizations are on the same page about. So that's a big point there.
Thank you, Jason. Actually, that led me to think of something else to mention here that I know we've been talking about as well, that is kind of a neat, it's almost like a hybrid version that you're creating yourself for this first one. So if as a partner org, you say to the folks that do need to get to 24.2, you say, I'd like you to go through Pega Academy up to 24.1. And then, so use that mission, the 24.1, get current on that. And then say, we're going to go ahead and invest in you and have you sit for this 24.2 role-based training, because we think it's important for everyone to kind of get that level setting together. That's another way to either just keep the costs down, to make it kind of a hybrid option. So you're leaning on some of the self-study, you're providing folks with instructor-led training, and it's another just way to kind of slice and dice it to make it work for you.
Awesome.
Great.
We've got a couple questions that have come in, Brooke.
Yeah, go ahead.
The first question is asking for understanding if they buy now, what is the period within they can use that training? And then we'll pause on that. There's a second part, but how long do they have to use that training if they buy it now?
Yeah, so if they prepay for, like if they prepaid X number of dollars and had a prepaid training credit, that doesn't expire.
Perfect.
It's a credit that sits on our books that you can use at your leisure.
Great. The second half of that question is if they go through MDF, is the price the same? But MDF is typically not available for training. But I would tell you a great idea. If you wanted to put 20,000 to training and you were looking for the MDF, I would make the suggestion that you work with your partner manager, put together an opportunity like some advertising or an event and put that money towards that sales event, get the MDF money for that, and then take that $20,000 savings and put that towards some training. Yeah, there's a way to kind of do that, but typically MDF is not available for training in and of itself.
Yeah, and the big thing to drive home there too, thank you for bringing that up, Randy. When using MDF, there are no discounts with the training there. So that is you're not able to kind of stack using the discount you get from your partner status plus using MDF or marketing directed funds. So just to keep that in mind.
That's a good point, Jason. And then one other question, is there any new training for BA apart from LBA asking like a PBA?
There's not, from an instructor-led perspective, my assumption, and I'm not sure off the top of my head, and we can look at this within Pega Academy, there's certainly, I would say there probably are missions and modules there, but from an instructor-led perspective, it's actually on the BA side, it's actually just business architect. We don't have a separate LBA class.
Okay.
Sure.
And then one more. Go ahead.
Yeah, there's one more, and then this one's kind of this is an interesting one. Will there be any consideration for business users focused training that we can easily point them to in the near future if they're new to Pega or they want to utilize their training budgets? Currently, it's done either in-house or partner-led as part of a project delivery cycle. Listen, I will say that Pega Academy has just an amazing amount of content and courses out there that you can actually look up and sort based on what level of Pega you are. If you need something that's foundational or something that's just fresh out of the gate of who is Pega and what is Pega, you can find some courses there. Krishna, I would definitely reach out to your partner manager and let's start to have a conversation about maybe what are some of the courses that you're looking there. They are there. It's just the right fit. It's kind of like walking into a library and saying I need a book. You want to have a little bit of an understanding of maybe what direction can we guide them in or point them in. But as far as like Pega 101s, there's a few I could think of off the top of my head that may be a good answer here. So yeah, definitely start there.
Absolutely. Great. So the next 3 slides are things that I think you can probably, we're not going to go through all of this content line by line, but this I think will help you to understand within that Delta course, on the left-hand side, here's what's new content. On the right-hand side, here's some of the content that we've actually taken and updated from a Gen AI blueprint perspective. So I think that at least just should give you a good idea as to what's different and what is included within that Delta course. And then I'll show you, I'll pause here just in case there's any questions or anyone wants to look at that a bit more.
I'll say I don't want to rush us, but I do know that we're running up at the top of the hour here, so we should probably.
All right, we can move on.
We'll push through. Yeah, we'll ship these out to Randy. Randy, I'll have you find a way to get these out too. So
sounds good.
I'll get everybody's email.
Yeah, the next couple slides, this slide and the next one, this really is looking at that SSA Delta course. So on the left-hand side again, this is the new content within these missions. So these are the missions you're probably familiar with: low-code app builder, low-code app builder extended, and system architect. Here's what's new within those missions. And on the right-hand side, here's what changes you can expect to existing content, and that also highlights that within each mission and module. And then I'm passing along to the LSA piece. So this is a little different. we're looking at what's the new content on the left-hand side and what are all the new challenges. So you can see why this is a longer course as well. So I believe that's it for our slides.
Yeah. Yeah. Any other questions that you guys have? These have been fantastic coming in here. Like I said, if you need to get some more concise information here, if you do go out to the partner portal, you go into resources and support and go to news and updates, you'll see a blog post here. The thing I want to drive home, and I've been told by upper senior management to really make sure that this gets on the books here. By June 30th of 2025, we're coming up on about a month and a half away from here. We need to make sure that 70% of staff at the organizations is up to Pega Infinity 24.1. Now, to keep that in mind, there's also kind of some tiers here. By December 31st, we need to make sure that 75% of partner organizations, the people who make up the organization, you're going to need to be at 24.2. So keep that in mind. You never want to have training be something that comes up last minute that you just have to jump on and just knock it out. It's something that being a little more thoughtful with the planning, but think about the two big things to keep in mind. June 30th, we need 70% of your organization to be within the partner program regulations. 70% needs to be at 24.1. By the end of the year, December 31st, 2025, 75% needs to be at 24.2. And yes, Sandor,
Yeah, that answers your
right there.
question.
Perfect.
Yeah, you look at that. You're seeing the questions come before they even come, Jason. I love it. Listen, the other thing that's important to talk about, right? Because a lot of times individuals at training don't individuals at partners may not truly understand the relationship between their partner manager and the contact that is the main person of contact at a partner, because there's different things happening there. If you don't get your 70% by June, or you don't get your 75% for 24.2 by the end of December, what's going to happen is your company's going to lose distinctions. And that's something that people are working really hard. So individually, you might not think it's a big deal, but collectively, it becomes a real problem if you want to keep those distinctions and have that up there to show people when you're out there selling. And people go online, they go to pega.com and they can verify that you have those distinctions, and you're going to be saying you have them when you don't. So it becomes very important from a holistic point of view if you want to keep them.
Yeah. And Randy, you hit on it earlier too. The bigger part here is what Pega has done in the last 2 years with Gen AI and how much we have revolutionized the product. We know that our clients are asking for it. We know that our partners are delivering it. And you guys are the ones out there selling these digital transformation solutions. So the more that you are aware and knowledgeable about what Pega can do, the better off you're going to be against competitors. And when you're out there bidding for business, building out and just changing the way in which these client landscapes are having solutions in their organizations, the more you know about what Pega can do, the more cards you can pull out of your deck. So it is truly in your best interest to make sure that there's a lot on there. So Sandrika, rather than targeting 24.1 by June, is it okay if we update the employees to 24.2 straight ahead? Yes, that is an amazing answer. Go for it. Shoot for the stars. Have at it. I mean, you're going to knock your currency goal by the end of the year way faster. Now, keep in mind, there are some components of 24.2 that you want to make sure that you have the 24.1 trainings about, but yes, those can be conversations that can be handled working through your partner manager, working through us of putting together what the right training is.
That's awesome. That's great. All right. I don't see any more questions.
Yeah, Randy, you got a big winner you got to throw off. We got 7 minutes left.
You know what? But we got a couple minutes for that. But before we do that, I sometimes like to look at the greater good of the world. And Brooke, I'm gonna go off script with you for a minute.
Sounds good.
Since we talked about the one end of the spectrum of a little bit collectively drumming and being a goalie crazy, I also like to see the other end of that spectrum when people are involved in very good organizations. Can you give us a 2-minute commercial for Cradles to Crayon?
Oh yeah, I love it. Actually, it's one of my favorite things I've done. So they actually have an awesome warehouse in Boston, where you actually get to go. I mean, you can personally donate goods from your home, goods yourselves, But one of the things that I love is I've done this actually with my teenagers. It's super fun. You actually go and you get assigned a job there, and you're putting together packages for kids, whether it's, they give you a certain size, a certain gender. It's almost like shopping for other folks with all this really cool donated stuff and putting together awesome packages. So it's super good, feel good, and organization that's doing awesome stuff.
Yeah, so Brooke, I took you by surprise on that. Crayons to Crayons is a charity. It is USA or worldwide?
Yes. Good question. I don't know. I've done it in Boston a number of times.
All right. And Brooke's been involved with that organization for years and years, doing great things. And what they do is they're a charity organization that helps children from a very young age through their teenage years, helping them get things that they need, typically some children who might be underprivileged. And it's just a great organization. I thought it deserved a shout out.
Yeah, it's great. Awesome. Thanks, Randy.
All right. Before we get to the big giveaway, one more question came in. Brooke, you mentioned we buy training credits, which does not expire, but will the trainings be available in this price or more credits needed in the future if the price of training goes up?
Great question. The cost of the training will be applied at the time when you purchase it. So if you purchase it now, you probably would need more training credit if you were to look at it 5 years from now. The difference is that I've been here for 4 years and actually our training hasn't increased in price. So it's not something that changes all that often either.
All right. All right, let's see what we can do now, right? Let's see what comes up next. Great questions and great job. I don't like to use the the same slides, but how often do you get to use a 10-year-old Halloween picture of yourself? I'm so looking forward to Run DMC. Pegapalooza is coming up, Pega World. Don't forget Alan Trufflet at the closing chess tournament. But it's time we pick a winner for one of our free giveaways to Pega World. As a side note, the legal team was very clear that I had to announce that this is a free ticket for entry to Pega World only. Food, lodging, travel, and any Las Vegas extraneous entertainment is not included. It's just the pass for the event. So we got to pick someone randomly. My man in the background, John Lynch. How would you like to jump in and maybe do the honors if you want to pick somebody from the call? Preferably not someone from Pega.
Happy to. So I'm just going to go with someone who asked a question in the Q&A. So let's go with Sandareka Fonseca.
That's a great pick. I will reach out via email and let you know how you can use that pass to register. You can use that for yourself or anybody in your organization if you'd like to do that. And with that, we're at the close of another Pega Partner Hour. Looking forward to seeing you all next month on the episode, which will likely be pushed back a week to give everybody a break from Pega World. And then, of course, we'll see you at Pega World. Until then, thanks to everyone who shows up month to month, especially my man, John Lynch, who makes it all happen. And of course, today, Jason, Wilhelm, and Brooke Halloran. Great job. We'll see you next. I guess that's
we'll see you guys in
Vegas.
June.
And we'll see you in Vegas before. So looking forward to seeing anybody. I think me and Jason, we're going to set up a table. We're going to be selling autographs. We expect a long line.
If you show up wearing that, John, Randy, I will gladly sit right next to you. Absolutely.
There you go. All right. We're looking forward to seeing everybody. Until then, sell and be well. Thanks everybody for joining.
Take care.